Okay.
Oh, whoa. It zoomed in too much.
Okay.
A little more.
Okay. Looks good now?
No, I need you to zoom out a little bit more so I can see the chat. Okay, that right there should do it.
Okay. So let's just give the usual 2-minute interval.
Yep. So, have you ever played the Gran Turismo games?
Only the original PlayStation titles. I think it was.
Since the dawn of eternity,
I think it was actually the original Gran Turismo. I haven't played Gran Turismo since the original PlayStation era. I did play again a Gran Turismo that was, I think it was not a spin-off, but I think it was different. But the numbered titles I haven't played since the PlayStation 1 era.
Okay, I was thinking about maybe checking out a Gran Turismo Sport. For like, I think it's just $10 more. You get their special edition. It comes with a lot of stuff.
Well,
but I've always sucked at racing games. Like, I can never get the controls right. So, still debating whether or not I want to do that.
Well, you should probably ask Bayhan then. He is our expert in Gran Turismo.
That's true, but he's probably going to tell me like I need to buy the steering wheels and everything. I don't want to spend all that money.
Yeah, that's probably not worth it.
Yeah, no, they're like $200. Unless you get the plastic one that goes around the controller, kind of like the Wii does.
Okay. Yeah, but you should probably then wait for some reviews or stuff like that. I mean, in the end, all racing games like Gran Turismo, where basically you just run in circles in a track, they're basically all the same. There are some differences, but in the end, the core gameplay is always the same.
Alright, I think we hit our 2 minutes.
So let's get this started.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our Final Fantasy stream. We are your hosts, Jared and Mike. Today we will be playing Final Fantasy Type-0 again on the PS4, and Mike will be the one playing it today. We'll be discussing our thoughts on the current events of Type-0, as well as answer any questions asked through the chat. Our goal is to play through the end of the story, after which we'll choose another game in the Final Fantasy library to play. We stream on Saturdays and Sundays at 1:30 p.m. Central Time for between 1 hour and an hour and a half. This is, of course, subject to change, and we're happy to hear your suggestions.
Okay.
So, Mike, in the last episode, we kind of got destroyed.
Yep, we did. I mean, we didn't exactly upgrade our equipment or abilities ever since the start of the game. So, not to mention we still weren't exactly the level that it was required. Basically, the game recommended level 28, and I was level 20. That didn't change much now, to be honest. I did level up a bit, but not until 28. Most of my characters are either 22, 23 or 24, but I have some really decent equipment this time around, not to mention I upgraded our abilities, so things should go a lot easier.
I mean, really, I think it's something we could kind of brag about, though, because, like you said, we really didn't do anything in terms of getting new equipment or abilities, and yet we've made it through like 2/3 of the game without breaking a sweat.
Yeah, but then again, this is one of the toughest missions in the story. I think it is one, and the final one in Concordia. In my opinion, those are the hardest. I mean, not even the final dungeon.
They definitely are.
Not even the final dungeon is that hard. Okay.
Yeah, it really wasn't. I mean, it was definitely a tense dungeon, but it wasn't difficult.
So to just you get an idea of the equipment. For example, I have King, and Basically, his previous weapons had an attack of 3, and his current guns have an attack of 47.
Holy cow!
And let me see. Jack, for example, his weapon is 23 in terms of power, and his previous one was also 3. So we're talking about an increase by 50 here.
Yeah, so what we're talking about, like you practically injected them out with steroids.
Basically, I did that trick from the Behemoth Cave. I just did it over and over until I got the weapons. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, these weapons are... I think it's the third most powerful weapons for each character in the whole game, so...
Yeah, I still believe the most powerful weapons next to defeating Gilgamesh are acquired through replaying the levels and getting a high enough score on medium difficulty. But I mean, with Gilgamesh, you know, that's technically the only boss left. There's really no point in getting them other than bragging rights or going into New Game Plus.
Exactly.
Or I guess if you want to take on that tower.
No thank you. I don't want to do that. Not worth it. Not even for a platinum trophy, if that was required.
See, now for that platinum, I was fully expecting to have to beat Gilgamesh. But, I mean, like we said weeks ago, this was one of the easiest platinums out there. I mean, this is the only platinum I've ever acquired. Most other games I give up halfway through. Even with the Kingdom Hearts games, and those aren't necessarily that difficult. If you go to PlayStation Trophies, it's .com or .org, those trophies are rated like 4.5 out of 10 in terms of difficulty.
I believe that Birth by Sleep should be considered a lot harder because you have really powerful enemies, but I think the other Kingdom Hearts titles, I agree, they're not that hard. But,
well, see, I've noticed that just because I don't get to play games as much as I used to, I've gone slowly worse at video games. So now even Kingdom Hearts, when it comes to these extra bosses, tend to kick my butt.
Ouch. But it's normal. I mean, the less we play, the less accustomed we are to the overall gameplay in all game genres. So. It's only natural that happens. I mean, you probably remember in the first stream I was confused with controls despite having played Type-0 before.
Yeah.
It's because I was not accustomed to this kind of gameplay, so I had to basically reteach myself, so to say.
Well, I'm sure whenever Kingdom Hearts 2.8 comes out, I'm going to have to relearn everything. Even though Kingdom Hearts 3D is one of my favorites, it's definitely going to take me a little while to get used to it.
Well, I never played the Kingdom Hearts 3D, so it will be my first time playing it.
I'm going to tell you what you're going to love about it. And it's not just the fact that you can slide off of all these poles and objects to get around quickly, but it's that the levels are about 3 times bigger than they usually are. I don't mean you have 3 times as many transitions to go to, like, you know, each level is almost like it's composed of rooms. It's not that you have more rooms, it's that the rooms are bigger.
Similar to how they are doing with Kingdom Hearts 3, basically bigger scenarios.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be gigantic, but 3D is definitely what started that. And even when you visit places like, what is it, Traverse Town, when you go back there, it's like you do have familiar locations, but because of how big it is, it's like you're rediscovering that entire world. And it's a very beautiful and relaxing thing they've done with each world.
And
look at that, you're not dying in one hit.
Yep. And I just need my partners to not die. That's what I need the most right now. Since they're both healers.
So did you get any armor for elemental attacks?
Elemental attacks.
Since this guy pretty much hits you with magic.
Not really. I just got some armor to upgrade to increase my HP and magic power. I didn't exactly go for elemental resistances, because that's just, to be honest, that's something that's not myself, to be honest, entirely, because I am that kind of person that prefers to increase the amount of HP my characters have instead of focusing on defense.
Same here.
Although I know that that isn't exactly wise at some point, but
yeah. Well, most RPGs, I don't focus on negating a specific type of elemental damage. Kind of like you, I just focus on defense and health.
Yep. And as you see it, kill it, nobody died. But yeah, I'm really overpowered with these new weapons and armor, even despite being low leveled. Not to mention that you didn't see it because I had the save already prior to the start of the mission, but basically King has that that boost, stats boost that the characters start with in some missions.
Yes.
Basically King was the only one, and basically he's the one I'm controlling, so it's no wonder I'm doing massive damage to all enemies with King.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see you're still alive. Well, moving on, there's a tough critter up ahead, and it's preventing some of our forces from joining up. What do you say to lending them a hand on...
Request confirmed. Type-0, go and assist the survivors.
Understood.
I hope there are survivors. Let's go.
Nagi sounds a lot like Jack, don't you think?
Sorry?
Nagi, his voice is very similar to Jack. I wonder if it's the same actor.
I don't think so. Because if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it's the Japanese version or the English version, but I know that his voice actor is the same as Shikamaru from Naruto.
Ah, really?
I'm not sure if it's the English version or the Japanese, I can't remember for sure, but it's one of them. But due to that, I know that they are not the same voice actors. Because I tend to check the voice actors, because there are occasions when, for example, I think it was, not sure if you played the Uncharted 4. Have you played it yet?
No, I haven't.
Basically, there's a character there who has the same voice actor as Cloud of Darkness from Dissidia, and their voices are so different. I mean, it's the same voice actor, but it's so different that you won't even realize. And that's something I usually do. I usually check the voice actors for my favorite games at least. Check the voice actor for every character and try to see if there's a voice actor that I know from previous games. Because sometimes Go ahead.
In terms of video games, my favorite voice actor is probably Quentin Flynn. He voices Axel and Reno.
I sure love his work in Kingdom Hearts. I mean, he portrays Axel so perfectly.
Well, what also I thought was so funny, and this is from an old Kingdom Hearts Union podcast when they interviewed him, he actually voiced Timon in the later seasons of the Timon and Pumbaa TV show. And I thought that was so awesome because I grew up watching that all the time.
I had no idea.
Yeah, well, when you hear him say Hakuna Matata, you'll be like, nope, that guy can pull off a Timon.
But speaking of voice actors, I hope I'm not getting it wrong, but I think that the voice actor behind Cloud of Darkness also is the same voice actor of Sarah in Final Fantasy XIII. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's her. I know that Sarah, the voice actor for Sarah, has done another work in a Final Fantasy title. I think it was Cloud of Darkness. I'm not exactly sure. But that's just an example of why I do it, because unless you mention it, you probably won't realize in some works, so to say. I mean, if you go watch Uncharted 4 and look for a character named Nadine, and you then go check Cloud of Darkness's voice, you'll notice that they are totally different. Unless someone tells you that they are the same voice actors, you won't realize it. No matter what you do, it's really hard. At least for me.
One thing I have to be careful of is, even though I like a lot of these voice actors, I try to never look, because like I'll find them on Wikipedia. One of the mistakes I've made is looking up their personal lives instead of looking up just what parts they played in. Because I don't care who it is, take your favorite actor, read everything about their life, and you'll end up not liking them.
That's something I never do, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, just to give a quick example, from the Iron Man movies, the woman who plays Pepper Potts, that is probably one of the flakiest women in Hollywood. I mean, she's got some serious issues.
Why is that?
And so, well, I'll just give one example of the many crazy things. She decided to name her child after a fruit. Her son's name is, her son's name is Apple. Now, I don't know about you, but that's just about as crazy as Michael Jackson naming his youngest kid Blanket.
Oh well, it happens once in a while, but it's weird anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a light example. If you look up other things she's done, you're like, okay, this woman's a little on the flaky side. But there's some actors where you might find, well, even though they're part of the same country as you are, they're very unpatriotic. They think very lowly of their own country. One actor I really enjoyed, I won't say his name just because a lot of people like him. He's actually a very big proponent of assisted suicide, which is a very touchy subject. And, you know, it's a little disappointing to hear these things sometimes.
I guess it is. I mean, you have a certain impression of a certain person, and then you're disappointed. It's not easy.
Yeah. Well, what I learned you have to do is you have to remember it's the character that you like, not so much as the voice actor or the actor.
Yeah. I guess I understand what you're getting at. And things are going really smooth.
I remember freaking out during this level when that timer appeared. I hate timed levels.
I don't mind it as much as long as it doesn't rely too much on your... not exactly your skill, but it doesn't force you to rush, so to say. It's not... I want a balance between doing things in the slow way, but not too fast either. Not sure if I'm being clear about it. Basically, for example, in this occasion there are loads of enemies here, right? I hate that the game forces me to leave this area before I can kill all the enemies. I mean, once, at least for me, I only like to leave an area on 2 occasions. When I'm being crushed and I really have to run, otherwise it's a game over, or I just want to leave once every enemy is killed. So I don't like being forced to leave just because of a timer. That's the kind of occasion I hate timers. As long as the timer allows me to kill all enemies, and then I have just to take my time to go wherever I need to be, that's fine.
I remember there was a picture going around on Facebook on one of the Final Fantasy groups. And it was actually picture 7, and it's where that you do have a timed event. But what makes it so funny is even when you're fighting random encounters, that timer goes, and it points out how even when your characters are taking that 5, 6, 7 seconds to do their little victory pose, that timer is still going down. So you can actually fail and have to restart simply because your characters were swinging their swords or whatever after a battle.
It was in I think it was a mem they did. It was Final Fantasy VII in the first mission of the game where they have to take down that scorpion armor thing, right?
I believe so, or it was close to that point. Because it was a battle where you could only be Tifa, Barret, and Cloud.
Yeah, I think that's the one then. That also happens in Final Fantasy IX. It's exactly the same. I think there are two occasions where you have a timer, and once the battle is over, they start celebrating and swinging their swords, weapons, whatever they are using.
The only part of that I remember is when you play as Sid while he's still at Oglop, and you have to like solve these puzzles, you have to hide from a cat, and that timer made me so stressed out. Thankfully I didn't have to redo it, but I came close.
Final Fantasy IX is my favorite, but let me just say it, that minigame is probably the minigame I hate the most in all the franchise. You're talking about that one where it's like you can't move when that monster is looking at you, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And I believe that you had to jump on a scale to specific. You had to time it just right, but there was like a delay between you hitting the button and him jumping.
Yep, that's the one. I hate that minigame.
Then again, it can't be near as bad as in 10 when you're trying to dodge the lightning bolts. Because if I remember right, you said on the PS3 version there was lag when you hit the button to jump.
Yep, there was a lag. Not sure about the PS4 version, but I can confirm that on PS3 there was lag. And to be honest, I'm not sure which challenge is most irritating, but let's just say they're both really, really annoying. And I'm here trying to use a potion and I can't use for some reason.
Yeah, if I ever get around to buying the Steam version of 10, I'll definitely try to do the lightning minigame again. From what I heard though, like the biggest reason I was having a tough time, other than the lag, was due to the fact that you're supposed to have the music turned off, because the music will throw off your timing, because it's got its own little beat.
But there's always these kind of problems in HD remasters. I mean, if you look at Kingdom Hearts 2, for example, on the Kingdom Hearts 2.5 HD remix, there's always a lag in the reaction commands and drive forms. And that was really noticeable in the final battle. Because you remember that the fight with Zemna starts with him throwing you into the air and you basically have to dodge immediately?
Yeah.
At least, I don't know if that happened in the North American version, but in the European version you can't dodge his first attack, no matter what you do. So
I don't remember.
But on the European version that happened, and I was playing on crashing difficulty and he basically killed me with one strike. So the battle began, he launched me in the air, I was dead. The only solution I found was immediately cast Reflect, so I could avoid being grabbed. Otherwise, it would be just stuck there. In the meantime, we lost 2 characters during the previous boss battle, 7 and Ram. I think we still have enough characters to finish this mission easily.
I was careless. What is this place?
Yeah, I just remember though, this part was probably where I had the most trouble, just due to the fact there's so many of these little undead things coming at you. And at least when I played, they could typically kill me in one hit.
Well, they are level 30, so I guess it's normal. Thankfully I have some really powerful equipment. I think Trey is one of the few characters that doesn't have a more powerful weapon. He still has his boat that he started with. But I think Cease already has a powerful weapon as well. But that's odd.
Let's get out of here.
Why is the game telling me that I need to go back? I'll just go down. Probably a bug. To be honest, I really don't see the point of this addition of these monsters. I mean, what's the point of these zombie kind of monsters?
Yeah, I don't think they ever explained what they were.
Another of the mysteries of Type-0. There's a lot of things that aren't explained in the game, but I guess that's because of the limitations of the PSP, as we already discussed in previous streams. What the?
Yeah, he got you.
What the hell just happened here? I don't know what happened, but why did it basically kill me with one hit?
I don't know, I just remember that each one of them are capable of doing a one-hit KO.
To be honest, I had no idea.
I remember, I believe it was in that area or it's a little farther along, but the only character I had left was Rim. Probably my weakest character, so he could barely do any damage, but I still managed to fight off like 7 of those things.
Was this area? I think it's here that you have to face a lot of them.
Yep, it's definitely this one.
Well, I have Ace this time around, so... And I still have Jack, just in case. Don't make me bring Jack into the mix, otherwise I'll be the one to kill you with one hit.
Oh, I apologize, I gotta step out for 1 second, I will be right back.
Okay. Easy peasy. I guess it was not meant to be that easy. That was close.
It appears you bring ill tidings.
Yes.
As to the areas where the Wardens are assigned to fight, we've been able to maintain our position. But as for the other areas...
Which area is suffering the most casualties?
Region 3 to the south. The Red Demons have been spotted there.
We cannot allow that area to fall.
Evacuate the injured, and all soldiers below rank 2. I will face the enemy!
That is the creepiest dragon I've ever seen.
And we'll have to fight it soon enough.
No! Don't eat me!
What are you waiting for? Took down the airship? This way, this way!
I think it's very far run. I don't want to lose any more characters.
That means
Yeah, I don't think you can fight that right
A
now.
little faster, please!
I'll just defeat a few enemies along the way.
Actually, that dragon reminds me a little bit of the new Godzilla design they're doing for the new Japanese movie. They're actually having it to where, I believe it's supposed to take place after the very first Godzilla movie, where they hit him with an oxygen bomb, because his skin's all peeled back, like he's missing scales, he has no gums, so he kind of looks like he's undead.
Really? That's odd.
Yeah, it is very creepy looking.
Let's see what they do about that movie. I mean, it's not like movies around popular characters have been a hit lately.
Hurry it up! Hurry!
You talk about the American one?
No, I'm talking about movies in general about popular characters. I mean, for example, Superman versus Batman. I think I haven't watched the movie, but from what most people say, it's a movie that only fans will enjoy.
I only know one person. I only know two people who liked the movie, and it's one of those where you could tell the guy who directed it obviously does not know a lot about the comic book characters.
Yeah, but that's what I was talking about, because these whole changes they are doing just because, okay, let's give this popular character something different to appeal the fan base. But sometimes doing things differently is just doing things worse. So I wonder if the same will happen with Godzilla. That's what I was going at.
You know, every so often in Japan they'll say, okay, we're starting a new set of Godzilla movies, so the movies that came out in between these years no longer count. Like, I think it was called Godzilla 1988. When that one came out, they said this is actually the direct sequel to the very first movie, so the 20 movies that came before no longer count, or no longer canon. Every so often they do something like that.
I'm that kind of person that if something works, but in games as well. I mean, Final Fantasy always worked perfectly with turn-based battles. Why now? Another example is the Devil May Cry reboot. I mean, everybody loved on at 4. Why changing to totally different character despite being the same old Dante? It doesn't make sense, and it serves no purpose at all.
Yeah. Well, at least in terms of Final Fantasy, I would prefer that the main series titles keep that classic turn-based battle system, If you want to do something different than just make it a spin-off.
Yep, that's what I agree as well. I mean, Type-0 is an example of that, and although Final Fantasy 15 is the main title in the franchise, it previously wasn't. So I can understand why 15 is going to be an action game like Kingdom Hearts. But the experiments they did with 12, 13, I mean, they should have stick with the whole turn-based system. All these changes just hurted the franchise, nothing more.
Yeah, and I have nothing against with, tweaking the combat a little bit each game. Like, we originally didn't have a active time battle turn-based system. It was just to where no one attacked until you decided what each character was going to do. And, I'm okay with little changes like that along the way, but sometimes it's just too drastic.
Yep. I mean, I don't dislike Final Fantasy 13, for example, but I can understand why fans complain about the changes. And wow, I'm doing loads of damage here. I wasn't expecting to do this much.
Yeah, I can't believe you lost 2 characters already.
Yeah, but you're supposed to lose in this battle, so I'm just making myself look good by resisting a bit more.
Oh yeah, that's right. This is when we get a special summon.
Yep. Really? Might as well bring Queen into the mix. But it's actually possible to defeat this boss. But you need to be really over-leveled. There's no point in just moving around with Jack. Just kill me already. Okay, here comes the super summon. Bahamut, the King of Dragons.
This is probably one of my favorite versions of Bahamut.
I can't remember the controls of this one.
I think you just have to use Mega Flare several times.
No, I'm just here pressing X, doing some stuff. That's what Mega Flare does.
I believe you have to charge it several levels.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, I think I need to hit its weak point so I can charge Mega Flare all the way. One time isn't enough, at least for now.
Actually, I was just thinking, what was the golden dragon from Crisis Core? Because you had 2 Bahamuts.
I can't remember its name, but that was an awesome looking dragon as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking that's probably the best version of Bahamut I've ever seen.
Was that Bahamut?
I'm pretty sure.
I think there was another version. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, now it's time to charge all the way. Mega Flare, Giga Flare. What? I think I need to attack him one more time. I don't even see its health bar. That's weird.
Yeah, it is Ego Hand charge.
Giga Flare. Come on, one more. Okay, Terra Flare. It's over. That must hurt a lot. And that's it. Mission complete.
Not bad.
This is so low. I mean, if we are supposed to die, why is the game blaming me for having 10 casualties? That's not fair.
It's probably why this is one of the levels that you really don't get a weapon for getting a good playthrough.
Oh, not that I just noticed. I also got a bunch of elixirs while doing while getting weapons from the Behemoth Cave. I have over 50 elixirs.
Nice.
Probably won't use them, but they're there just in case.
That was a significant blow to the Concordian forces.
But it'd be bad if we fell from here, right?
You made it? Hold tight. I'll extract you. Come back? What luck?
Looks like Lord Shuyu's got that huge dragon in check. Now it's a battle of endurance.
How is the main force doing?
They've got Lady Setsa on their side. The Empire's probably running scared.
Okay, I think chapter 6 starts now. It's just a mission, so I think it will be a really quick chapter.
Terra Mortis. Kalia's decision.
The first Battle of Jujenka waged on along the Rubrum-Concordia border. Rubrum forces maintained the advantage with valiant efforts from its cadet forces. Meanwhile, Rubrum's second force, deployed to the Militesi border, was failing to hold back the Imperial forces, which greatly outnumbered them.
The Dominion's ground troops are still retreating. Our warships are hardly damaged. Our foot soldiers are moving forward.
And the Concordian front?
Rubrum is putting up a good fight. They've not made any headway.
The Concordian army is weaker than I thought. I had slightly higher expectations of them. Inform me of any changes at once.
Sir!
On this front, however, the Dominion is far too weak. Furthermore, this 108th Brigade, organized under Marshal Sid's command, includes many former Imperial officers. It can't be a coincidence. That being the case, this battle will not aid me in my goal to climb up the ranks.
All right, go. Sir.
Is that the new lessee? He suddenly came out of nowhere. Where was he hiding?
Is something wrong?
No.
Are you bothered by it?
Not really.
All assigned units, head to your
Let me just ask, is it really so hard to figure out who that character is?
Hey, I didn't know my first playthrough.
Really?
No, I didn't pay attention to the length of the cape.
Oh, okay. I remember in my first playthrough that I immediately noticed who it was.
Follow the plan. There is no retreat.
And do you want to save here or do you want to continue the mission?
Let's save here.
Okay. So continue the mission next stream, right?
Yeah, I think this would be a good stopping point for us to... I think we should quit while we're ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm pretty sure this part of the mission is a little long also.
Yep. This mission will probably take an hour, so... I can probably wrap it up in one go in the next stream.
Mm-hmm. Alright, well, to all our listeners, we will return on Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Our stream will be a little bit longer. It'll actually be an hour and a half, not just an hour. And hopefully we'll be able to get through this mission and move on to the next chapter. Get one step closer to finishing the game.
Yep. And this mission, next mission will probably be a cakewalk as well. I mean, these characters are also upgraded, so it should be easy.
Yeah. Alright, well in that case, we'll say our goodbyes.
Bye guys, see you next week.
See y'all later, have a good weekend.